uneasiness, but I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. And I thought going into Fiji that um, my obstacle or what I really needed to unpack was how did I want to grow my company? Did I want to go down the path of every that typically startups go, which is, you hit a certain threshold, now you start doing subway campaigns and billboards and so forth. I thought it was like, how do I grow the awareness of my company? But what I actually realized when I was sitting with Tim and Marie and Tony specifically was it wasn't about that. It was about my own mental thresholds, and it was
Mm,
actually more about how do I grow as a leader and as an
yep.
entrepreneur, and how do I stop being in my business and start, being an owner of my
Yeah,
business.
owner, not operator. And this is the classic thing, and I just wish every entrepreneur could understand this. And Tony says the biggest chokehold on your business is the psychology of its leader. It's
Yeah.
100%. So I'm super interested in this because I was watching the video and he says to you, I have faith in you. Like you're going to do this. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, and I think everybody who's listening right now, they know that clearly you're focused and you have the skill set and you have the passion and the power. So he's like, look, you're going to do this no matter what, but it's how you do it that's going to be game changing, not professionally, but personally. So
Right.
what did he mean by that?
Yeah, I think he could see on me, this that I was torn,
Mm,
I just had my son. At the time he was about, 9 months old, and I was in Fiji and I
yeah.
was, and I had been traveling a lot, and he could see that I was so torn about being away from my family and my kids that I was trying to figure out like how am I going to grow this company and do this thing that I love so much while I also spend time with the people that matter most to me. And I realized the answer was becoming an owner and not an operator.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was about, being dedicated to balance, because there's no recipe for balance. It's a discipline, in my opinion. You just have to decide that that is the type of lifestyle you're going to live, and you live it. And he started sharing with me examples of women that currently do it and so forth. And he was like, look, like you don't want to look back and say, yeah, I built Lively and it's a huge success, but I missed all of these amazing moments in my children's life. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
I
like,
think every woman who has kids who has also, is very either has a business or is very passionate about their career, they just probably got goosebumps just now because that is, you just spoke to the deepest fear, I think, of every woman is like, yeah, missing out on your kid's childhood. And Tony always says there's no such thing as work-life balance. And when you think about balance, we tend to think about the day to day. We tend to think, oh, am I gonna, I need to go to parent teacher conferences, but then I'm gonna, I feel guilt. We call it mom guilt, right? So
right,
it's,
totally.
well, I'm missing this afternoon board meeting because I'm going to the dance recital, but if I miss the dance recital, so nobody's happy, right? You're
Right,
always letting
totally.
people down. And we get caught up in that day to day, and we're so busy, we're so used to being tough and multitasking that we also lose touch with our emotions and our passion and our love for what we're doing and our love for the people that we're around. So ultimately,
Right.
that's where the balance really comes back in, is being able to cater to what he called like the lover in you.
Yeah.
You got the warrior, but then what about the lover? So yeah, how did that impact you, and how did you feel after that moment that you had with him?
Sure. It was, I mean, the man is so gifted. It's amazing because his eyes are so warm where, physically he's a big gentleman,
Oh yeah,
right?
he's a
But
force of nature. Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah.
he just captures you though in a way that is so warm and nurturing. It was such a safe space, I have to say, in
Mm,
that interview.
hmm.
And when he outlined, the idea of the warrior and so forth and the lover, everything just kind of crystallized and became so clear. When I found out I was pregnant with Jack, I started going kind of on this journey where I felt like I had to prove to the community that I could do this. I
Hmm.
felt like there was a lot of doubt around me. They're like, she just started this company and she's pregnant and she is raising capital and she's building this team and this and this and this. Like, it's never going to happen.
Hmm.
And so I was on such an adrenaline rush that I was just doing, doing, doing. I had Jack. I was back at work 3 weeks later. I was just
Hmm.
going,
Yep.
right? And I kind of, in that moment with Tony, realized, like, wait a minute, I don't have anything to prove. I'm here to build something that I love, and I'm here to enjoy, this life that I'm choosing to live. So let the warrior take a break.
Yep. So how did that, because Tony also says that, it's the moments of decision that our destiny is shaped. So how did you, in that moment, you were in state, you made this decision to become a business owner, not an operator, to, find joy and fulfillment in the day to day, right, and what you were doing. How did you then turn that into action?
Sure. Yeah. So I came back to New York and I took a hard look at my team and all of the things that we were doing. And I said, look, guys, like we need to focus, we need to delayer, and we need to really understand where we're making impact. And so we were just doing a lot of things where we realized, and I realized, I said, look, let's do a couple things really, really well, right? An example is we have an amazing ambassador program, and those are the girls, that we launched our company with. Like I said, we had 100 girls pre-launch, and then since then, every month we would acquire hundreds and hundreds more, but it was a lot of work to get them. It was our team like reaching out to them and cultivating this relationship and so forth. And I said, look, what if we created a process where they could come to us, where we create a place for them to reach out to us and so forth, and that's going to make your lives easier and reduce that friction, and then we can ship to them from our warehouse and still send them very unique handwritten notes and all of these things, but we can simplify the process, make it more efficient, and actually make it better for the client. And we did that across so many verticals within our business, and the team is just smiling, right? It's just
Yeah.
it we I came back with such a sense of clarity that I'm like, wait a minute, we don't need to do things the hard way. We need to look at trend lines, we need to look at impacts, and then we need to create efficiencies against those impacts.
Yeah. That's incredible. Did you have similar, because our audience also needs to know that you recently attended Business Mastery in Palm Beach in early
Yes.
2018. And, that's a much longer, more immersive process where you go through each area of your business. Did you have any sort of business breakthroughs there that you were then able to take back to your company in a similar way and implement?
Yes, yes. I would say probably the biggest and most clearest was the idea of a scorecard, right? He shared a quote from Warren Buffett, and I'm going to mess it up, but you can't win if you don't know the score
Mm-hmm.
type of logic. And so I said, like, look, I can create the scorecard for the business, right? And the idea of like 10, 10, 10, right? So if you want to have exponential growth, you don't have to have just exponential growth. You can grow almost like in a way that's attainable and mentally something that you can achieve by saying like, okay, I need to grow my number of customers by this percent and my repeat rate by this percent and my average order value by this percent. And by doing that across those three pillars, I will